Hi, Tammy. Hi, Diana. I'm live on a different day today, so that's probably why you were able to catch me. Had to switch up my days today, guys, because tomorrow I have a teacher meeting because I'm going to be the room mom, and then Wednesday I have my nieces for the last time before summer's over, and I just was afraid I wouldn't be able to fit it in for later in the week. So, hi, Tammy. Hi, Victoria. Good morning, Adrian, Kathy, Marty, Jean. Thank you, everybody, for joining. First, I wanted to share with everyone kind of the difference. I made a whole bunch of little boxes, and I wanted to show you the difference between the mini Curvy Keepsakes and the original, because I know a lot of people have asked, and it is kind of difficult if you don't know, but I think the best part about this is you only have to cut it one time, whereas when you did the old Curvy Keepsake, you had to cut it twice. But I also wanted to show you what you can fit in them in case you wanted to know if you were going to buy it or not. So, where's my thing? Here it is. Okay, so when you get the Curvy Keepsake die, you can get this as a bundle. It comes with a, oh my goodness, I put it on the other side. It comes with this. Tiny keepsakes, so you can get these two. If you buy them together, you save 10%. And by the way, don't forget, bonus day coupons expire the 31st, so if you have them, make sure you use them. But you can get these together, you save 10%, and you could use these to decorate. And then you could use these little guys, you could stamp them and cut out. You could cut out with the little dies that come with them. So a lot of cute options. And then plus it also has these little sprig pieces, which are really cute. Cuts out the snowflake. You have two of those, so that's nice. So you could stamp 2 snowflakes at a time and cut them out. So that's really helpful. Plus, you could use this for Valentine's Day, multiple holidays, which is very good. But the thing about this is you just use a half sheet of cardstock, and you can actually get 2 of these out of 1 full sheet of cardstock. So you only have to cut it once. Whereas when you had the Curvy Keepsake box, you had to cut 2 of these separate, and you had to glue them together. So this is just 1 cut and you're done. You can make a lot of them very quickly, so that is super helpful. But also, just in case you weren't sure, so size-wise, you can fit 2. These are the miniatures. You can fit 2 of those. I think you can probably still fit, you definitely can't fit a Kit Kat, but hold on, I have some other candy here. These Skull and Bones, the sweet tarts, you can get those in there. They are going to be a little bit full, but it will close. So you can also get a bag of mini M&Ms in here. So those are in here. Now you can see the big box, you can fit mini M&Ms and 3 of these. So this definitely does fit a lot more, but this is retired, so we don't make this any longer, but I just wanted to be able to show you the difference. I think you can probably get the pack of M&Ms. Yep. You can also get a miniature pack of M&Ms in here. Sorry, it's not easy to close stuff when you're on camera live. But you can get way more stuff into the bigger Curvy Keepsake box. So this one measures, I think I said, about 2 inches. If you're sitting it down, it's about, yeah, it's about 2 inches square, approximately. This one is about 2 3/4 inches. So let me put this stuff back in here. This one's about 2 3/4 inches. Yeah, square. So I measured these, that way you'd be able to tell the difference, just in case. However, you can make so many of these fast. I made a whole bunch of them to share with you. And again, in case you ever, for some reason, land in my craft room, don't ever eat the candy in here. It's all really old. But I made a couple of them. This was one that I made a while ago. So really simple. I just used Mango Melody and stamped the pumpkin. This is from the, oh my goodness, the builder die. It has the apple or the pumpkin. I can't think of the name of it right now. I'm sorry. So this has the pumpkin face in it, and then I just decorated it with a little bit of the green ribbon, garden green, and then this was actually the organdy ribbon from last Halloween. And then I had to like bust out a few new things. I saw some people recently decorating it with DSP. So what you do for this is you cut out your regular piece out of whatever paper you want, and then you can just cut out just 2 pieces. That way you can make it directional, so it'll go the right way. So you just cut out 2 pieces, and you glue them on with Tombow, kind of give it a little fold, and you see they stick really, really well. And you just want to remember, if you're going to tie this off, you want to make sure you stuff it first. So you put your candy in there, and then you close it up. I also stamped the spider webs on the side. And then I made a mummy one. And I just used the 1/2 inch circle punch for most of this. What I did was I cut out 2 white ones, then I cut 2 black ones, and then I cut 2 more white ones. I kind of labeled them because mummies do kind of look like they have that duh face. And then I cut out a black circle and just ripped part of it off. I just put some lines on this with a combination of Sahara sand and crumb cake markers. So that was pretty simple. I originally was trying to decorate it with the lined stamp set here, so you can actually see that on the inside, but it just didn't turn out the way I wanted. It was a little too uniform. So the inside of this one's decorated too, speaking of. So you could stamp and then just use the other side of it, and people be like, wow, you even decorated the inside? Yes, I love you that much. I decorated the inside. And then another one I made, and I just kind of got these ideas from my past cards that we were sharing the other day. So this one I kind of went with a vampire theme. So he has his little widow's peak there. I just trimmed out some little edge pieces off of white cardstock. Added a little bit. I did a combination of cherry cobbler and real red. And then I cut out, same thing for this. This is all done with the 1/2 inch circle punch. The eyes, half slits. This is actually using purple posy paper because it's kind of like a nice light purple, because for some reason in my mind all vampires have purple skin. I don't know if that's true or not. And then I just sponged it very, very lightly with a little smoky slate ink to kind of give him like that old look. And then to keep with the red and black, because you know vampires are always dressed in suits and they have white ties with a little red accent, I used again the organdy ribbon. And then I used the curly, this is a new, this is actually a Christmas ribbon, but the curly ribbon, so I just cut a little bit and kind of frayed it and tied it on top. It might look a little bit like hair, but I thought it looks cute, so you could omit that if you wanted to. The other thing you could do too, if you wanted to make a little bow, maybe for like underneath, is you could use the ruched ribbon, and you could tie like a little, some sort of a little bow, maybe if you wanted to look fancy, and you could put it underneath, but I think that's a little bit much. Also, just in case, if anybody's not done it yet, I do have, I think, still 2 spots left on my ribbon share and 1 spot on my DSP share. So if you're interested in that, just send me an email when this video is over, rachthestamper@gmail.com. I'll be invoicing people next week. So those are all the ones I made. Obviously, you could do these with lots of different DSP. So these are all the mini Curvy Keepsake boxes. And again, you can see the size of it, the difference between the two. So one other thing I wanted to share was this box. If you guys remember, I made this last year with the, this is obviously last year's DSP. It had pumpkins on it. And I thought it'd be fun to just make another one. So I made a Halloween one, but I thought we could do a Christmas one because it's really, really simple to make. And what I wanted to show you, I figured we could decorate a little bit differently. This one uses the books. And if you haven't seen this Halloween DSP, it's got a lot of really funny takes on classic books. The Old Man and the Sea Monster. The other one that I thought was really funny is How to Cook 40 People instead of How to Cook 4 People, which was really funny. Retiring Forever, A Financial Guide to Freedom and Immortality. So these are all really funny. And there's one on there, and of course I can't find it right now, but it actually says something about DSP, which I thought was pretty funny. So if you read through them, you'll find some really cool things. Memories and More, that's what it is. Autobiography, Vlad Dracula. So I thought these are really cute. Now this is really simple. I just punched some holes in this, but we do still have different types of binder clips. I think a lot of them are still in the clearance rack, if I'm not mistaken. So there's lots of different things you could decorate it with, but I thought we could do a Christmas version just for the heck of it. So what I did was I was stamping some of the snowmen, and these are the snowman season. This also has a coordinating punch. You can punch him out and the little twigs and the hat. You can also punch out some of the DSP, which I actually ended up hand trimming one. This is one I'll show you. I was working on copying the card. So I trimmed him out by hand, but this is a little shaker card I was kind of copying out of the catalog. So I didn't finish this one yet, but I had to end up having an extra snowman. And I made this one with the punches. I just didn't put his arms on yet, but the punch is really easy to use. It's very, cuts pretty close, but you can always trim it a little closer if you want. And I like the fact that it really gives a realistic color. I just ended up using a little bit of Seaside Spray, which I think is my favorite replacement for Soft Sky, for making white things look whiter. So like snow or clouds or whatever. So you can see that fits that punch. And then this is his hat. And then I just don't know what I did with the arms. I think I probably threw them away by accident. But so we're going to make a Christmas version. And I thought we could use some of the stamped snowmen here. I'm not exactly sure which one I want to use. But I wanted to show you one other thing. I just was kind of doing a little bit of a comparison here. And I'm going to stamp the third one in the middle, because I'm not sure if it's going to fit. You know what? I might have to go to a different piece of paper. But what I was doing is I was using a little bit of kind of different types of black ink, in case you might only have one type and maybe you don't really know like what's the difference between them. So this snowman was stamped with VersaFine ink. So one thing you have to be careful with VersaFine ink, so I'm just going to tell you straight off. Memento is what Stampin' Up carries. And also, it's in here somewhere, I just don't see it, StazOn. StazOn dries out very fast. You cannot use this with Stampin' Blends though, because it's alcohol based, okay? So you can use this with watercolor or with the regular Stampin' Write markers, so keep that in mind, okay? If you're using Memento, you can use this with the regular markers or the blends, but you cannot watercolor with Memento, okay? So that's another one. VersaFine, this I got, I don't know if I got it at Michael's, Joann's, or Simon Says Stamp, one of those places. This is another one that is made by the same company, so it's also made by the makers of Memento and I believe StazOn. They all make the same thing. This is a really great ink for fine details. So you can see you have a lot of detail on this tree. Really, really deep color, but you have to be careful only because you have to give this time to dry. This is a pigment ink, so it takes longer to dry. So just keep that in mind. And then another one, which I gotta say, I've used this a lot and I did not buy the re-inker for it. So this one actually looks gray. But this is the Gina K Amalgam ink. Now this ink you can do anything with. You can watercolor, alcohol marker, regular marker, permanent. It's a really versatile ink, but mine, I need to get the refill for it because it's definitely a little dried out. But if I probably would have inked it a little better, you would be able to see slightly better. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do one more. I'm going to stamp these guys just so you can see them, because I think that this is very helpful sometimes. So I'm going to stamp this guy in StazOn, and I think my StazOn is very well inked. So I'm going to stamp him in StazOn. One thing with StazOn sometimes, and I don't know if this happens to anybody else, it really sticks to your paper. It can be a little bit grippy. So it actually pulled off a piece of my cardstock there. So I don't know if that happens to anyone or it's just me. So let me know if that's ever happened to you, first of all. Let me clean this off. And it could just be because this hasn't been used a whole lot with the this new stamp. I mean, I've only used it, I think, like 3 times thus far. And then I'm going to do Memento. And I think Memento does ink very well also. But if you're wanting to do, I think thus far the blackest black that I've gotten, and it's best with details, is VersaFine. So there you can see the difference. This is, whoops, this is StazOn, and then this is Memento. So I really do like Memento ink a lot. Let me just wipe this off. And I'm gonna stamp this Gina K one more time just to see if I give it more time to actually transfer. If maybe it's a real comparison, because I do really like this ink a lot. So I'm gonna stamp this one up top. Sorry for making a table jump. So I'll just give this a second to transfer, and then I'll do VersaFine with this one as well. So we'll have 4 different ones. So this still probably does need to be re-inked a little bit. It's definitely darker than this, but I have used this a lot. So that was the Gina K Amalgam ink, which is a very versatile ink. And then last but not least, I'll do the VersaFine ink. And this one, again, just you have to allot time for it to dry because it's a pigment ink. So it definitely needs drying time. But I think the VersaFine is the blackest black of what I've seen. And it does clean off completely from your stamp too. As long as you clean it right away, it cleans off very well. So again, those are the 4. So let's see if I get that camera. This is Stays On, Memento, Gina K Amalgam ink, and VersaFine ink. So this one definitely gives a nice black. These 2 are probably my favorite. I do like Gina K a really whole lot, but I just need to buy the re-inker for that one so it inks better. So that's the difference between those 4, and I will actually put a name and I'll take a picture of this and post it onto my blog when we're done. But I just kind of wanted to share those with you in case you hadn't used them before. I do have a lot of Memento ink. I have like 3 ink pads because I do really like it a lot. And I like this a lot as well, but I tend not to use this for classes because if you don't wait long enough when you're stamping something, then it gets all blurry and then people get upset because their image doesn't look nice. So this is that's a great ink to use as well. So what I thought we could do is I'm going to go ahead and color this little snowman in here, and because he still should fit. Yeah, he'll fit on here good enough. So we're going to color him in now that he should be nice and dry. I did hit him earlier with the heat tool to just dry him off a little bit. So we're going to color him in with some blends. And I'm trying to think here. Let's see. I think I'll use the Seaside Spray, and I'm fairly confident. Let me just make sure before I make myself look like a fibber. Nobody wants to look like a fibber. This one might, now that I'm thinking about it, watercolor stamped images. We might not be able to do this with the blends because I can't quite tell. I'm just trying to see if this is bleeding at all. Sometimes it's hard to tell. No, that looks pretty good. So I'm going to use a little bit of Seaside Spray for the blue portion. And then I will use, is this Poppy Parade? That's like my favorite red and green. I'll go with a bright green. How about green? Is this Call Me Clover? I have Call Me Clover. And let's see, I'll do a little bit of soft suede just for the base of this. Actually, that's a snowman. That would be some dirty snow. That would be like a Charlie Brown tree right there. I'm going to bring in a little bit of, I think this is light Granny Apple Green for the tree portion. And maybe just a teeny bit, what is this? Dark and light mint macaron. So I'm going to just color him a little bit. And what I kind of tend to do is I'll give like these little bit of blue, not a whole lot to the white, because you kind of want to give the illusion of the snow, but you don't really want to necessarily color it in. I'll do that down here as well on the snow mound. You could also do this if you wanted to with watercolor pencils and then just fill it in a teeny bit with the blender pen. That's another good idea. And obviously we can definitely put some Wink of Stella all over this. And if anybody knows any better about this with the VersaFine and the alcohol, please let me know, because again, I sometimes fool around with this more than others, but I would never want to give anybody information that is false and then they end up ruining their ink or something. Okay, so then I'm going to just add in a little bit of Poppy Parade. Trying to go on the tiny... Oh, and I gotta have some orange for him too. So I'm just right now have the light Poppy Parade, and then I'm gonna do the, let me see. Let me go with the light Clover. You could also do these if you wanted to in blues. So we'll have to choose a good paper when we do this. And I'll bring in the light mint macaron for the hat. You could match this to the paper colors that you're going to use, because a lot of them have a lot of bluish tones to them, which is really fun. So I'm going to just bring in a little bit of color here, kind of making this, filling in the color. And now that I'm looking at it, it does look like it's just getting a little bit muddy. So you might not want to be using your blends with this. But I'm going to finish taking one for the team. So this might be one of those do what I say, not what I do. All right, so that's pretty good. And where is my gray? I'm going to add just a little bit of gray on this coal here. You can also add some gray as a kind of a low light. So you could have like a highlight and a low light on one side. Kind of just like I do my hair. I'm going to bring a little bit more of this. And I'm not really making smooth lines, just to kind of accent. And while we're at it, I'm going to take, I'm pretty sure this one is still in. Yeah, Flirty Flamingo, just a little bit on his cheek. Okay. One other thing you could do if you wanted to is you could take your lightest, so this is Gray Granite, let's see. Smoky Slate I think is lighter. I'm going to take a little bit of light Smoky Slate, and I'm going to just go kind of around the outside so it gives him a little bit of a shadow, a little depth to him. Kind of just stick, I usually just try to stick with one side if I'm doing this. So stick with like the left side if you're going to do it. That way it gives him a lot more depth when you look at it. It looks like he's kind of jumping off the page. So, all right, so we'll leave that just like that. You know, I'm wondering that too about the snowman bundle. That is a very good question. I do not know the answer to, but I will tell you that I know that they said they really ordered a lot extra of things that they thought were popular. So hopefully they thought, someone thought this was popular and they ordered plenty of it. Okay, so a couple things you can do, and the reason I brought a bunch of different papers because I wanted to show you, you can do this with lots of different paper. So what we're doing again is we're making this little treat holder here. This one is closed, but this one I just clipped closed, and you can see you can fit a good amount of stuff in here. This one, wherever, what did I do with that Kit Kat? I'm fairly certain. Yeah, the Kit Kat. Yeah, so you could fit a lot of candy in there. That is just one little mini Kit Kat. You could definitely fit a bunch of them. You could fit, I believe I had in here before. These are, again, from last year. This is a local delicacy. If you live in Maryland or Pennsylvania, you are familiar with Utz. They make fantastic, the best chips ever. But those are cheese balls. So you could fit a little bag of cheese balls in there, or maybe like a little pretzel bag. They don't make little chip bags because that many chips is just not good enough for anybody that likes Utz chips. So let's pop that on there. So this is what we're going to make today. So you could use any paper. You could use this little snowing paper, which would be cute. Maybe we will use this. It'll be easy to use. But you could also, if you were making this for just like, maybe you wanted to make get well bags and give them to people who were sick or someone who was going through chemotherapy. You could put like some lip balm or something in it. Maybe a little like a tiny, like a hand lotion you could put in there. So you could make it with this paper, which this is the, oh my goodness, I'm losing it. It's not Magnolia, Garden Lane paper. Again, this paper isn't really specifically directional. So kind of either side you use it. Like you see with the books, either side you use it, they're both kind of facing a good direction. And the way we cut it also did help that. So what I'm going to do is, I think this one's big enough. I'm going to make one with this just to share with you. And then we will also make one with, we'll make it with this. We'll make it with the blizzard paper. But another one you could use that would be really fun if you were doing something for a kid's party. You could use the dinosaurs. You could use the egg pattern. This is in the Dino Roar Suite. You could even really use the dinosaurs if you cut it directionally correct, because we are going to do it that way, so it will make it a little bit simpler. Okay. So to start, and bear with me because I just made this for the first time last night, so sometimes I kind of do my measurements as I go along. So we're going to do this first. If we were doing it directionally, I'm going to go this way. So we're going to score, and I'll tell you where to cut it. So don't pay attention to this yet. So we're going to do it 2, 5, as usual. I don't have enough room. 7, 10, and then 10 and like, I'll say 10 and a half, because 10 and a quarter sometimes is just a little bit too little. So that will be our last one. So we have, again, 2, 5, 7, 10, and then you'll have this little 10 and a quarter piece. And then the other I did was 3 and a half. So score at 3 and a half, and then you're going to move it up. I went 2 inches and like 1/8, and then you're going to cut it. So the total paper is going to be 5 1/8, and you're going to score it at 3 and a half. So I'm just going to show you this one, and then we'll do the second one. So just for sake of making this simple for you all, I think I said I ended up with 10 and a half by 5 1/8. Okay, so you'll just take this, fold it on the score lines. 3, 2, 5, 7, 10. Okay, so you do want to do this, even though it is DSP, just kind of do it lightly with your bone folder, because it'll give you nice creases. And I'm going to tell you just straight off, this most likely was not my idea. I probably, if we're being honest, probably saw Angie Judah make something similar several years ago, because I love watching her. She makes a lot of really great 3D projects. So we're going to just trim it on the score lines, up to the score line. Okay, so we have that. This one I just gave a little notch to. So typically what I'll do is, wherever the seam is, okay, then this is going to be the front of it. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold this one back just for now, and then I'll just give these a little bit of an angled cut, because it kind of helps your box to just go together a little more smoothly. Same with this. And in case I went too fast, don't worry, I will make another one with the Christmas paper. I will take my time on that one. And then this is going to be the front, so I just want to make sure this is nice and even. Nope, this is the back. What am I talking about? Wrong. Miter cut. Ding dong. There we go. Okay, so again, so we ended up trimming off this little piece here. We gave this a miter cut, this a miter cut. This is the straight one here. You can, even if you want to, you could cut a little bit of this off, so you'll know which one is going to be your real square piece. So you can see this one's going to be square. Of course, this piece is a little jaggy. Hold on. Okay, so then all you're going to do is take tear and tape. This is super simple to put together, and that's why I said if you cut it this way versus some other ways that I've made it, it doesn't matter what direction your paper is going, because it's all going to be the same way. Okay, so what I usually do is I typically will put it on the flat piece first, and then I will fold it over. Okay, and okay, again, so this is going to be the part that's going to be in the front, so it'll go like that. So you could make it a little longer if you wanted to overlap. I did do that when I made this one, but I ended up doing so long that I had to trim it up a little bit. So I kind of just went back to the way this one was, where it's got just that little piece. So if you want to make it a little bit longer, you can. I don't really think anybody will be inspecting the bottom, but some people really like their stuff to be very uniform, so that is perfectly fine if that's what you want to do. So I'm going to just put a piece here, a piece here, a piece here, and then I'm going to put 2 pieces on this one. Okay, so you just want to make sure these are all pressed down really nicely, and then you can lift them up. I think this take your pick tool, this little spatula thing, was probably one of the best parts of it. It's my favorite part. I think it's the piece I use most, honestly. Note to self, I should have peeled this paper off first before I did that back one. Okay. So, I'm going to put these two down. This one will go on top. And then I usually flip it over and press it with my bone folder. Okay, so then here comes the part where you have your options. So you can either, if you have some binder clips, you can clip it like I did. I got this. I'm sure I totally missed the crocodile. That would have been a wonderful thing to have, but I got mine on Amazon. This is We Are Memory Keepers, which I think they're the ones that make the envelope punch board and all that stuff. But you can pop this in, make yourself a little hole. Oh, that one's too small. Make yourself a little hole. The nice part about this is that you can line it up pretty well. Oops. When you look in there, you can line it up. So even if you made one that was too small, you can kind of look and line it up ahead of time. And again, I just kind of eyeballed these. Probably could go over a little bit, but then you can run a ribbon through it. Again, you do want to make sure that you fill it first. Okay, so that is one way to do it. You could also, like I said, do it with the clips, binder clips if you wanted to. You could just tie it shut nicely with ribbon if you'd like. So it just kind of depends. So I'm going to put this back up, and then we will do our snowflake paper. So one other one. Here's one. All right, so then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do this one ahead of time. I'm going to trim this down. So we're going to trim this down to 10.5 by, I said 5 1/8. I'm going to move this one up to 5 3/8 and just see how much better it overlaps. So that way, maybe it'll help you. So 5 3/8, okay? So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to score this again, just like I did before, okay? And I'm going to use, I think I might use this side. We'll see. If it looks too busy with the snowman, then I'll go back to the other side. But so I'm going to score it at 2, 5, 7, and 10, and then you'll have that little 1/2 inch piece here, and then you're going to flip it and score it at 3.5. And if you wanted to, I mean, you could absolutely make this a bigger, deeper bag, which I have done before. You can make a taller bag. You're just going to need to make your top paper taller. That's the only thing you have to change. Okay. The rainbow stamper is watching Wally. Yes, he's watching Wally. I know he has not been on here yet. I tried to get him to make a card the other day, and the rainbow stamper, I tell you, does not want to go to school, number one. Number two, once we get there, he's really not going to want to stay in school. So maybe once the rainbow stamper starts school, he'll be like, can we come home and make a card? Maybe that can be like one of my bribes for him for the day. All right, so we have this, and then what did I do with my little stamped guy? Moved him over here. That might be a little much, so maybe we are going to go with the blizzard. We're going to do the blizzard. So this is going to just be backwards because I scored it the other way, so it's truly no big deal. So I'm going to do the same thing again. So on the skinny side here, I'm going to take this little piece off, and I'm going to give this a little trim. Okay, so it's just going to be backwards, no big deal. So that's your miter cut for the first one. And then for the rest of these are actually much easier to see on this paper. We're going to cut straight up to the score line. Yesterday we replaced our front porch ceiling fan. Our front porch is not all that huge, but, and then again, since this is the back, this one is going to be the front piece. So I'm not going to trim this one at all. So I'll go ahead and give this a little cut so I know. So we had to replace our ceiling fan because sometimes when we get storms, the way the wind rolls through, it's very vicious in certain directions. So it actually ripped one of the ceiling fan blades off, which then caused the bulb to break all over the front porch. And of course that was, we just didn't replace it. So yesterday we swapped that out, took it down and put a new one up. So that was our fun for yesterday. And then we have this bush out front, and it's a really cool looking bush because I don't know what it is. It's a leafy bush, but the leaves on it are green, but sometimes they turn yellow and then sometimes they turn more green. Well, something was eating this bush, so it basically decimated it. So make sure this is nice and square. I'm just going to see if there's any little nibs I need to trim off the square piece. So we ended up ripping that bush out because it was half dead. And there's these little white stuff all over it. So between that, and then we have these gypsy moths in our trees. I don't know if you guys have that, but they make like this nesty, ghosty looking thing. Oh, so gross. So we have those, and they're eating the trees. And then I guess because we have had a couple of cool days, which has been really nice, but all the trees seem to think it's fall. So everything out back is like taking a dive. Makes me want to just close the pool and call it a season. I'm just gonna put this on real quick here, and then this one I'm gonna put 2 pieces on because this is gonna be our main closed flap. So I know it's supposed to get maybe in like 76 today, which is fine. I mean, I'm okay with it being, which way did I do this? Fallish, especially it's probably much easier for the kids when they're going back to school. But this pool, man, talk about having to clean up. All right, so I'm just pressing these on because if you press them on really well, they're much easier to pull that release paper off of. Okay, so again, don't mind, we just cut this the opposite way. That's why it looks backwards. It's going to go together just the same. So we still have 2 more ceiling fans to put up because we're changing the one that's in our family room into our nice room. We have one nice room in the house. Which is basically a room that's not full of either my crafting crap or decoration stuff, because I am one of those people that has to keep everything, and it doesn't have any toys in it. So that's the nice room. And our family room needs a bigger fan. It's just not large enough. Pull this off gently, see if I can do it without that getting stuck to that table. And pull this one off. Okay. So what we're going to do is I'm going to fold these 2 flaps in, and then this one is the kind of back one. And then I'm just going to peel these 2 off. I'm trying to do this slower because I feel like I just put that last one together without you guys even knowing what was going on. And then we're going to put so that one fits a lot better coverage wise. Although this, the way the pattern is, you can't really see it. So this one is more like this one. This one is probably really, really close. I actually had to trim some of that off. It was so close. So if you go with 5 3/8, you'll get more coverage. If you go with 5 4/8, which is 5 1/2, it might be that you have to trim some off. So it kind of just depends on what you want to do. So then I just take, again, my bone folder and push the bottom down to make sure everything stuck to where it wanted to. And then you just kind of squeeze the ends just like that. Okay. So I have tons of little clips that I haven't done anything with. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut out the snowman. We're going to add him to this, and maybe we can cut out a couple of those little, where's my little box that I had earlier? I lost it. We can cut out a couple of those little crazy pieces. Here it is. We'll cut 2 of these out. From some, maybe I could do mint macaron with those. That'll be something fun. We'll cut him out, and then we will put like some sort of a little tag part. How about sweet treat? That's cute. We'll do sweet treat. I'll stamp that. I'll stamp while I'm at it. We'll just do a couple little things with this, and we'll see what we'll like. So I'll do sweet treat, and I'm going to cut this out with the oval. Will it fit there? Yeah, that should fit well. And then I'll do a few of the snowflakes, and then we'll just decorate this one up. So just give me 1 sec. I just have to put this away and grab my big shot, and we'll stamp a couple little things and put this back. I had some paper. Of course, the cicadas don't really care whether it is or isn't chilly out. They have been like maniacs, probably because I know they're all croaking soon. So, and I'm seeing that somebody was saying on here that they were crying their eyes out. Is that for kindergarten? You're late. Don't be sorry. Yes, I will definitely post the measurements to the blog. Absolutely. I always do. Sometimes it just takes me a little bit longer than others. But I promise I will post them. So we'll do 2 snowflakes. School starts the day after Labor Day here. We start the day after Labor Day. I will be, yes, you're right. I'm not sure if I'll be crying. Isn't that terrible to say? I don't know if I'll be crying. I'm sure I probably say that I won't, but I think I really will miss him because I've been thinking about it. Like, I mean, for the past, well, I'm going to do mint for the, I'm going to do mint for the words. For the past 5 years, I mean, we've pretty much done everything together. So don't let me act like I'm all tough and hard and I'm not going to miss him, because I'm sure I'm going to. But at the same time, I just want him to be happy. And I just don't want him to be sad. That's what makes me saddest. It is so hard to watch a child be scared. And really, I say for no reason, but I'm sure I was probably worse than he is with my scarediness, because I was a very, very shy person. I know that seems hard to believe because you guys are watching me here, but it's because we're not face to face, because I still do get scared. Like when we're doing classes or stuff, that stuff all makes me nervous. But what I tried to tell him is that I still get scared when I have classes, or when I go to something new or whatever, but it's still so much more fun than it is scary. So I tried to go with it that way. I don't know if it's going to work or not. We'll see. Only time will tell, right? All you experienced moms out there that know, only time will tell. I'm going to try to do all this die cutting at once. So I have, let's see if I can fit all these on here. These, and the only other one, let's see. Yeah, rats. New one was not going to work out right. Do this here. This is that magnetic platform, which you either, I think, love or loathe. Because depending on which way you put your magnets, it likes you sometimes, and sometimes it doesn't. Fiddles. Don't make me get out the tape. Okay, now it listened. It's about to come cursing. Stamping after dark with cursing. You just retired from working in the school system. It feels odd not to get up with kids. Yeah, but I bet you love it, right? Now you have all that time to craft. Don't worry, Julie. I'll keep you entertained. I'll be here all school year. Hopefully. All right, so I got all these cut out. There's my snowflakes. Got my sentiment. And I got my 2 little mint sprigs. So we'll put all this together. And I need to order myself a magnetic bowl. I saw Dawn had one that she was talking about last week on her live. So I need to go back and look at it so I can do that. Oh, I forgot this guy. I want to cut him out. So we can cut him. We'll do it with an oval. Actually, what if we did it with this? This might be cute. I don't know if he's going to fit in here or not, but let's take a look. Maybe we could do that. Let's try it. What the heck? That's what happens when you're live. You can do fun stuff, right? Make sure this looks remotely even-ish. Oh, that looks pretty good. The bowls are great. Wanda, do you have one of them? If you do, tell me where you got yours from. I'd be interested to know. Okay, so I did cut it so it was trimmed off. So we'll see. We'll decorate this up and make it look cute. So I'm going to, just for the sake of blue, I'll take the Seaside Spray. And just going to go around with my marker. And go around the bottom. And also, I want to tell you one other thing that I did not tell you earlier when I made this card. Just so you're prepared, because you know I like to be honest. This is the puffy paint. Okay, the Snowflake puffy paint. In case you didn't read this when you got your catalog, this when it comes out is really, really runny and you have to heat it for it to puff. So if that's a thing, because it is a little bit of work, just keep that in mind when you buy this. I probably, if I would have actually read the description, I thought it just puffed, but you have to heat it. And the underneath doesn't heat sometimes as fast as the top. So just keep that in mind. There's a bunch of steps for this. You might have easier puff paint to use, I'm just saying. So just so you know. Okay, but also, let's see. We'll put some Wink of Stella on him because he is a sparkly snowman. We could do some of the sparkling crystal effects, which would be really cute. And you know what? I'm going to put that on, but if I do, I'm not going to do it until I put it on the card because my luck, I always end up touching it and then I mess it up. So we'll do that at the very, very end. So I'm just outlining that in blue. I'm going to do the same for the snowflakes just because it kind of hides that harsh white edge. And also, since I'm coming to you on Monday, and I usually do Tuesdays, next week, Tuesday is the first day of school, so I won't be doing it Tuesday. I'm going to be going back to my Wednesdays. Obviously, I will not be live on Monday because it is Labor Day, but I might start doing like Monday, Wednesday, or Wednesday, Friday, or something like that. So just keep your eyes out. I'm not really sure what I'm going to do yet. And I'm going to take, this sponge is really wet, but I'm going to try it anyway. I have my mint sponge and mint macaron. I just want to sponge. This is just a little bit too wet. Let me squeeze this out. I just cleaned this one off right before we started. Oh, that looks cool. There we go. See if I can pick this up now. Okay, there's that. Oh, heavens. Okay, that's still really wet. All right, and that. Okay, so now all I'm going to do is put this together. So we put him on here. I'm just going to glue him straight on. I'm going to do my Tombow. That way I know he will stay on there really well. Okay. Trying to make sure he's remotely straight. You could have also, if you wanted to, you could put this on ahead of time. So just remember that. Well, you could give him time to stick. Could use tear and tape as well. Another good idea. And I'm going to put on these. Let's see what I'm going to do with these sprigs. Well, I'm thinking of it. I'll put one on here. Just kind of slide that in the back. And then I'm going to put a snowflake here. And then this one I'm going to put together somehow with, shouldn't have put that on yet. Let me put a little bit of glue. And then somehow put this, maybe put this one over here. Yeah, I don't know if I like that or not. I don't think I like that one as much. I'm going to put this with this. That looks better with that. And I just want to put a little bit of ribbon. But I don't have any super duper winter ribbons yet because I didn't buy a ton of them. So what I think I'm going to do is, this is that linen trim, the braided linen trim, which I really, really like because it's super pretty. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put both ends through like that. If I can get them. Pull this through like that. And that technically you don't even have to tie this. You can kind of fray it, make it look cute. Just like so. We could probably trim this off a little bit actually first. Then I'm going to spray this again. don't put him on. Okay. So I'm going to put him on flat. And then this dude, and I know I have them here. So let me see if I can grab one real quick. I think there's like still some of these in the catalog, I believe. I don't know if it's the gold ones or not. We definitely had some in the clearance rack. I have some of these that are really old, the birthday mini ones. We'll just do a silver one for now, but we could also use just a blue. What you can do is you're going to grab this. You can clip this shut. That way, if you wanted to, they could keep it open and closable. So just like that. And one other thing I want to do before I finish is, and again, I suggest saving this for the end because I always goof it up. So you have a new item as well, Shimmery Crystal Effects. You definitely have to shake this a little bit. But this is kind of like the old Crystal Effects, except it's in a much better container. So it doesn't constantly goop up. And if you remember, you had to keep like cutting the tip off all the time. Don't mind me. This does come out really well. I'm just rushing. Yeah, did you hear the horn? No, I think they just went by. Whenever we go by my niece's house, we always beep. So I think they just went past and they just beeped at us too. I'm going to put just a little bit here. And when this dries, it is really, really shiny. It's super, super fun. And one tip I do have for you, just in case you still have it. So this was the old Crystal Effects bottle, and you had to keep cutting the tip off. I can't even get anything to come through this. So what I did was I actually put it in one of these little mini squirt bottles. And then when you just take the tip out, you can clean it and you can kind of get the stuff to go down in it. So I have a lot left in this, but I can't get it out. So what I did was I just unscrewed the top. And I got one of these little mini squirty bottles. I think Donna probably sent me a bunch of these. And I poured it in so you can still use this. Because otherwise, I had to cut off so much of this tip. If I probably cut this off now, it would just come out and like pouring out. So this, this new dispenser definitely works. I know it's a lot smaller, but it works a lot better to actually be able to continue to use it every time. That you don't have to worry about it clogging up the tip. So there's that. But there is this cute little one. Again, I'm going to finish this one. I'm going to do something with it. I don't know exactly what, but make sure you leave your name. I know I have really been slacking on drawing names for comments. I have a couple people that I think, make sure you go check the winner page on the blog because there are a few of them that are going to be ending soon. So if someone does not claim them, I'm going to take them off and we'll start over with something new. But maybe I can make one of these up and send it out to you. Of course, I cannot stamp anything of it, but I can make you the template and send it to you. And then you can send it to somebody that you care about that needs a little something. But they're really easy to make. Super, super simple. I promise I will put all of the measurements up. This one, again, was last year. So I'm going to lay these flat so you can see them. And this is the one I made last night, the Halloween one. And then what I did with this one, I just wrapped the ribbon through both times. So you could do that with this really easily. Actually, as a matter of fact, just to show you, with this is the that same braided twine. It's really easy. This is a really easy ribbon to work with. So you can see you can tie this up really quickly. Obviously, just remember, make sure you stuff it first. And let me snip this off. So really easy, and then they can untie this simply. If you have somebody that maybe, like I said, if you have someone you're giving to it might have a little bit more of a challenge opening it, make sure you make it easy for them to open. But this is really simple. You can stuff all your stuff in there. You could just put a little tag on there. You could even tie the tag with these to this, and that way it's all kind of wrapped up in one. So that's a really simple way to use it. But I thank you all so much for joining me at the last minute on this Monday afternoon. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. And if I don't see you later this week, I will see you next Wednesday, which is September the 4th. Rainbow Stamper will be back in school, so I might be long-winded or I could be crying. You never know. Just ignore me. Thank you guys so very much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day. And also, just in case you missed it, in the beginning, we did show the difference between the mini and the old-style Curvy Keepsake box. So you can go back and look at that to see the difference between the two. So thank you guys very much for stopping by. I'll see you again real soon.